I never thought I'd be writing this post, but I need advice from people who might have gone through something similar. My husband Brian, 32M, and I have been married for 4 years, and I just discovered something that has completely shattered my world. Brian and I met at a company picnic 6 years ago. I had just started working in the marketing department, and he was already established in the finance division. I remember being impressed by how put together he seemed. He was the guy everyone went to for advice about investments and retirement planning. My friend Natalie, 30F, who worked with him, introduced us after weeks of insisting we'd be perfect for each other. We both grew up in broken homes, which initially brought us closer. Brian's parents split when he was 12, and his mom struggled to make ends meet while his dad started a new family in another state. I could relate because my dad abandoned us when I was 8, leaving my mom to work multiple jobs to support me and my younger brother Kevin, 26M. These shared experiences made us promise to always be honest with each other and build a stable home together. Our dating period was like something out of a movie. Brian was thoughtful, responsible, and seemed to understand my trust issues. He'd surprise me with small gestures, leaving sticky notes with encouraging messages on my laptop when I was stressed about work or bringing soup to my apartment when I was sick. Within 6 months, we were talking about our future together. We moved in together after a year of dating. Even then, Brian was meticulous about finances. We split everything equally and started saving for our future. He suggested keeping separate accounts for personal expenses but opening a joint account for household costs. I thought this showed how responsible and organized he was. When he proposed after 2 years of dating, it felt right. We had a medium-sized wedding with 175 guests, mostly family and close friends. Brian's mother Linda, 58F, welcomed me into their family with open arms. She often told me how happy she was that Brian had found someone who understood the importance of family, given their difficult past. We bought our house last year after saving aggressively. Brian convinced me to put most of our wedding gift money into the down payment, saying it was a smart investment in our future. We both contributed equally to the mortgage and household expenses through our joint account, which we've maintained since moving in together. Everything seemed perfect until last month. I was paying bills online when I noticed something odd: regular monthly transfers of $800 to an unfamiliar account. At first, I wasn't too concerned. Brian works in finance and often talks about various investment opportunities. But something about the regularity and amount of these transfers bothered me. When I casually asked Brian about it, he said it was for a work investment group. His explanation seemed reasonable, but his body language was off. He kept checking his phone while explaining, something he does when he's nervous. Then last week, while using his laptop to print some documents, with his permission, I noticed his email was open. I know I shouldn't have looked, but a subject line caught my eye: Tyler's school registration fees. I clicked on it, and my whole world collapsed. The email was from someone named Rachel, 30F, discussing their 5-year-old son Tyler's private school enrollment. As I read through the email thread, I felt physically sick. Not only did Brian have a child, but he'd been actively involved in the boy's life throughout our entire relationship. The emails discussed everything from medical appointments to holiday visitation schedules. The more I read, the worse it got. There were emails about Tyler's allergies, his love for dinosaurs, and his recent start in kindergarten. Brian's mother was frequently mentioned. Apparently, she had regular video calls with Tyler and sent him presents for every birthday and Christmas. I spent the next few hours going through more emails while Brian was at work. The story became clear: Brian and Rachel dated in college, she got pregnant during their senior year, and they tried to make it work but split when Tyler was 1. The $800 monthly transfers were just part of the financial support Brian provided. The betrayal cut deep on multiple levels. Every time we talked about starting our own family someday, he knew he already had a son. Every Christmas when his mother talked about wanting grandchildren, she was already a grandmother. Every time we discussed our financial goals and sacrifices, he was secretly supporting another household. I stayed at home in a daze until Brian returned from work. When I confronted him, he didn't even try to deny it. He admitted everything but tried to justify his actions by saying he was afraid of losing me. He claimed he'd planned to tell me eventually but never found the right time. I packed some clothes and went to stay with my best friend Ashley, 28F. Brian has been bombarding me with calls and texts, ranging from desperate apologies to angry accusations that I'm overreacting. His mother called too, crying and saying she only kept the secret because Brian begged her to. The past week at Ashley's has been a blur. I've barely slept, barely eaten. Every time I think about our relationship, I question everything. Were there other signs I missed? What else has he been lying about? I've frozen our joint account and contacted a lawyer to understand my options. Brian's latest tactic is sending long emails explaining his side of things, but I can't bring myself to read them. The thought of him crafting careful lies for years makes me physically ill. I keep thinking about Tyler. He's an innocent child who didn't ask for any of this. Part of me feels guilty for disrupting his relationship with his father, but another part of me is angry that I was kept in the dark about his existence. Am I overreacting? Should I try to work this out with Brian? Or should I just accept that our entire marriage was built on lies and move on? Starting over at 29 seems scary, but staying with someone who could maintain such a huge deception seems impossible. Update 1. It's been 3 weeks since my original post, and I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. The situation has become even more complicated than I initially thought. After my post, Rachel found me on Facebook and asked to meet. I was hesitant at first, but Ashley offered to come with me for support. We met at a quiet coffee shop outside of town, and what Rachel told me made me realize I'd only discovered the tip of the iceberg. Rachel brought years of documentation with her. Apparently, Brian had been telling her that I knew about Tyler all along but wasn't interested in being involved due to severe anxiety and childhood trauma. He created elaborate stories about why I never attended any of Tyler's events, everything from work commitments to family emergencies. What really broke me was seeing birthday cards and Christmas presents that were supposedly from me to Tyler. Brian had been signing my name to cards and gifts for years. Rachel showed me photos of Tyler opening Christmas presents from Brian and Aunt Amy. I never even knew these gifts existed. The financial deception went deeper than I discovered. The $800 monthly transfers were just what went through our joint account. Rachel showed me proof of additional payments of $700 monthly from a separate account I didn't know existed. Brian had been paying $1,500 monthly in total, nearly double what I'd initially found. This revelation made me rethink all our financial decisions over the past few years. When I wanted to start an online boutique last year, Brian convinced me we couldn't afford the $5,000 startup costs. He said we needed to save for house repairs and our future family. All while he was secretly paying $18,000 annually to support Tyler. Things got messier when Brian's family got involved. His sister Melissa, 35F, showed up at Ashley's apartment unannounced. She tried to convince me that Brian was just being a responsible father, arguing that I should understand given my own experience with an absent dad. The manipulation made me furious. There's a huge difference between being a responsible father and systematically lying to your wife. I've moved out of Ashley's place and found a small apartment. I used money from my personal savings account, which thankfully Brian couldn't access. The rent is higher than I'd like, but I needed my own space to think clearly. The situation at work has become unbearable. Even though Brian and I work in different departments, people have started to notice something's wrong. The rumors are flying, and I've caught colleagues whispering when I walk by. I've started looking for a new job, but it's challenging in our current market. Brian's latest strategy is to get my brother Kevin involved. He reached out to Kevin, playing on their friendship from college days. Kevin came to see me, initially planning to advocate for Brian, but after hearing the full story, he was disgusted. He reminded me of how our dad's lies destroyed our family, and how we both promised never to accept that kind of behavior in our own relationships. My lawyer is building a strong case based on financial deception. She's particularly interested in the separate account Brian maintained for additional payments to Rachel. We're gathering evidence of all the unauthorized signatures on cards and gifts, though she says that's more about establishing a pattern of deception than legal implications. I've started individual counseling to help process everything. My counselor suggested I write letters to Brian that I don't send, a way to express my feelings without engaging with him directly. The letters always end up being about trust rather than Tyler. I realize that's what hurts the most, not the existence of his son, but the years of calculated deception. Rachel and I have talked several more times. She's deeply apologetic about her role in the situation, though I've told her she has nothing to apologize for. She was also deceived, just in a different way. She's offered to help me with documentation for the divorce proceedings if needed. Update 2. 2 months have passed since my last update, and the situation continues to evolve in unexpected ways. The divorce proceedings have begun, and Brian's true colors are showing. He's now claiming that I knew about Tyler from the beginning and am using this situation to leave him for other reasons. He tried to present photos of Tyler's 4th birthday party, claiming I was there. Rachel had to step in and confirm that she took those photos, and I was never present. His lawyer's face during that exchange was priceless. I found a new job at a competing firm with better pay and benefits. It's a fresh start where nobody knows my situation. My new co-workers are friendly, and it's refreshing to be known for my work rather than my personal drama. The most bizarre development came from Brian's mother, Linda. She showed up at my new apartment with a copy of her will, saying she wanted to add me as a beneficiary to keep me in the family. When I declined, she broke down and revealed that she'd been sending Tyler additional money behind Brian's back, trying to make up for the guilt she felt about lying to me. Going through our old financial records revealed more deceptions. The wedding gift money that Brian insisted we put toward the house down payment? Most of it went to Tyler's private school enrollment. We had 175 guests who were generous with their gifts, but somehow we only had a small amount left after our honeymoon. Now I know why. My lawyer has pushed for a complete financial audit. We discovered Brian had set up a college fund for Tyler using money from his annual bonuses he told me went straight to our mortgage principal. While I respect him wanting to provide for his son's future, the systematic lying about our shared resources is unforgivable. Kevin has been instrumental in helping me move forward. He's been staying with me a few days each week, helping me sort through joint possessions and paperwork. He found old tax returns that raised more questions about Brian's financial dealings. The hardest part has been dealing with mutual friends. Many have taken sides, with some suggesting I'm being unreasonable about the whole thing. These are the same friends who watched me plan family vacations that never happened because Brian claimed we needed to save money. Update 3. This will be my final update. The divorce was finalized last week, and I'm ready to close this chapter of my life. The financial audit revealed even more than we anticipated. Not only had Brian been claiming Tyler as a dependent on our joint tax returns without my knowledge, but he'd also been writing off various expenses related to Tyler's care. My lawyer helped me file amended returns to protect myself from any legal implications. Rachel and I have maintained contact, which surprises many people. She's apologized repeatedly for her unwitting role in the deception, though I've assured her she's not to blame. Tyler now knows about my existence, and Rachel says he's struggling to understand why his father lied about me. She's handling the situation with remarkable grace, focusing on protecting Tyler's emotional well-being. Brian's final attempt at reconciliation was both predictable and revealing. He offered to include me in Tyler's life, suggesting we could all be one big happy family. He still doesn't grasp that this was never about Tyler. It was about years of calculated deception that touched every aspect of our marriage. I've relocated to a different city for my new position. The physical distance has been healing, helping me establish a life completely separate from Brian and his lies. My mom visits regularly, and I'm slowly rebuilding my social circle. Some days are harder than others, but I no longer question my decision to leave. The experience has changed how I view relationships and trust. While I'm not ready to date, I'm focusing on building stronger friendships and reconnecting with myself. My new job keeps me busy, and I've started taking evening classes in digital marketing to further my career. Looking back, I realized that Brian's deception wasn't just about Tyler, it was about control and his inability to face difficult situations honestly. While I still feel pain about the years I lost to his lies, I'm grateful I discovered the truth before we had children of our own. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your advice and encouragement helped me stay strong when I was tempted to accept Brian's excuses. Starting over at 29 wasn't part of my plan, but it's better than living with lies.